Hello everybody, I'm glad you're here today. Today is September 1st, 2024. In this video, I'm bringing you another thing that happened in my town that was substantial just yesterday. It fits in with all the other stuff that happened last week. So, yeah, just chalk it up. Another one for Apocalypse Bingo. That's kind of where we're at right now. I'm going to bring you a word that I wrote down on August 29th, 2024 while I was worshiping God. I just write down what I think I hear from him. I know I'm not the only one who does that. It's so nice to belong to a group of people, YouTube family, that shares with me what you write down in your journals that you hear from God. It's simply amazing. And so I invite you to email me, GinaLimaCharlie@gmail.com, if you want to share what you write, if you have a dream, if you have some intel, prayer request, anything. Y'all reach out. Same with the comment section. Y'all, the comment section is your voice. So please be loud. Be loud is what I say in the comment section. All right. So I'm going to do that in this video. I have a couple of prepping ideas. One's kind of far out and the other one's just kind of basic. So I'm going to bring you that. First and foremost, let me get a drink of water. I need to tell you what happened yesterday. Okay, so this is Sunday. All right, yesterday, Saturday. All right, precursor, pre-story, prequel, whatever you want to call it. Thursday of this week, in 18 hours, our cities, we had a water main break. We had our police chief get arrested. And we had a major truck accident where two semi-trucks full of silage collided, head-on collision right outside my house. So, and burst into flames. It was horrible. So those three things happened all within 18 hours, all right? And I wondered about that. Remember, I made the video. I just wondered, is God, not God doing this, but is there a pattern here? This seems extreme. All right. And so when I was talking to my dad, y'all remember, he said, look, no water, no police protection, and no ambulance, because our city's ambulance was not able to go to that crash. We had to have another city come. So that happened all in one day. Then yesterday, 2 days after those three things happened, 2 days after that, our electricity went out yesterday afternoon for about an hour and a half. Boom, just boom. I mean, there wasn't even a sound. It just stopped. And I literally was just like sitting on the couch. It was at 2:40 because I was like, I'm going to shut my eyes a little bit. I shut my eyes a little bit, and then I just lay in there. The electricity went out, and I thought, well, shoot. If this is the apocalypse, I'm going to finish this nap first. That's what I kind of was thinking, because after this, I may not be able to sleep very well. So that's kind of what my first thought was. And are y'all the same? Are y'all getting to the point where you're like, is this it? Is this it? The good thing was, okay, first of all, it was our entire town. All right. That is somewhat unusual. All right. We were getting messages from our energy company saying, we don't know what's caused this, and we don't know when it's going to get back up. So we were like, okay. So, every time this happens to us, which is happening often now, our electricity used to not go off like this, but now it does. Let me explain. This day, it was 80 degrees, which is like cold for us. It's like, get out your sweater. All right. So yeah, 80 degrees. So the grid was not stressed with everybody having their air conditioners on. All right. Secondly, there was no storm. It was sunny and clear. So that's not what it was. Apparently, my understanding is the county next to us, kind of catty corner up above us, not exactly next to us, near to us, that we share a little bit of a border, their whole county was without power. All right. So all of that is unusual. Now, our county was not completely out. I don't know what towns in our county were. The towns on each side of us had power. So I don't know what happened. But it went out. And I went to go check on my parents and realized, you know what? They're having a hard time knowing, and I don't mean any disrespect for this, but we need to know. We need to have a meal plan. A meal, the electricity goes out. What are you going to do for the first meal of that event? Okay, I kind of have that in my mind here at my house, but I didn't realize that my parents didn't. So, and I mean, they would have like, hey, we can have cereal, and that's true. They could have a bowl of cereal, they could have a sandwich, but they need a little something more substantial due to health issues because of that. So, because of that, they need something more substantial. So that was made evident to me during this particular power outage, and I plan to take steps this week to make that easier for them when that happens. So that happened. So think about it. No water in my town, no police protection. Is that symbolic of that? No ambulance, no one's going to come help, and no power. I just wonder if God's saying something. Maybe not, maybe so. Time will tell. I'll visit with God about it and see what he says. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So that was weird and interesting all at the same time. It was so quiet outside. It was so quiet. I went outside. Nobody's air conditioners was running. It was just so quiet. And I thoroughly enjoyed that until the power came back on. And, I'm glad the power came back on because, man, I like my air conditioner. And so that happened. That happened. And now, here's what's one of the things that's sticking in my craw about the world right now, or actually about our nation, is this Venezuelan gang takeover of apartment buildings. I'm not all that concerned. I mean, that sounds awful, all right? It is awful. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. Is that going to get more? Right now, if you consider, if you pretend this whole piece of paper is the United States, where that's happening is like a pin size right here, and this is the rest. It seems big, but it's very localized. Now, I know that's in Colorado. I'm hearing Pennsylvania, Arizona. I don't know. I haven't heard details about that. Now, in Texas. Now, see, here's the thing that bothers me. Okay, so there's the Venezuelan gang taking over apartment buildings, gathering people's rent, intimidating the landlords. And, okay, so I don't know about all that. That gang sounds awful to me. Okay, I live in a town with the Mexican mafia, all right? I don't see very much of them, but I do see signs of them from time to time. So, yeah, I don't know. There's that. So that I put in a box. I'm watching it. I find it odd. I'm a little alarmed by it. Okay, we're going to put that on a shelf. All right, we'll watch that. The second thing I'm watching is like this, I'm sorry, I should not laugh because it is not funny, but the mosquitoes in New York City, all right? Where I live, it's kind of desert, and so we don't struggle with mosquitoes except when it rains, okay? When it rains or when we have rainy weeks or, we struggle with some years we struggle with mosquitoes, all right? Now, West Nile virus, they've got 6 cases there, is my understanding, in New York City. That sounds awful. Mr. Fauci is in the hospital with it. The irony of that, I don't know. I'm just like, and he says he got it in his backyard of Washington, D.C. West Nile virus is not new. And so I'm like, I don't know. What, have you released? Has some country released infected mosquitoes to us? Or did Bill Gates do this? Or I don't know. I'm not going to spend my time trying to figure this one out, all right? If you feel called to do that, then do it. I'm not saying nobody else should do it. I'm just like, that's not my thing. Once again, watching that, okay? So they're telling everybody, go inside while they spray for mosquitoes, all right? Look, we spray, and I don't know, maybe they're doing, I don't know why everybody's in a lather about that, because we spray for mosquitoes all the time here where I'm in the Texas Panhandle, all right? Listen, Caesar drives the mosquito truck, all right? When it rains, we see and hear the mosquito truck more. Do we go inside and lock our doors? No. Do they tell us go inside and lock your door when Caesar's driving the mosquito truck around down the alley? No, we don't. If you hear the mosquito truck coming and you want to go inside, go inside. If you don't want to go inside, then stay outside. You're going to smell the mosquito stuff. All right? I mean, really. That's how we deal with spraying for mosquitoes. My tax money goes to that, and I'm glad because I don't like mosquitoes. I hate them. Not only can you get clearly sick from being bit from them, but the odds of that are so low where I mean, I don't know, maybe they're not. Look, I'm itching just thinking about mosquitoes. Do y'all ever do that? Do you ever hear a sermon about water and the water of life, and you're like so thirsty at the end of it? That's right. They're talking about mosquitoes. Anyway, yeah, y'all, we've been where I grew up with the mosquito truck. I mean, the mosquito truck is no big deal. So I don't know if they're doing something more in New York City. I don't know if the people aren't used to it, so they're like afraid. And clearly, we need to be breathing in poison. I know that. I'm not saying that, but I don't know what it seems like they're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I don't know, or at least. So, y'all comment below, what do you think? What am I missing? Maybe I'm missing something, all right? I also live in a place where crop dusters fly over and spray insecticides and pesticides and herbicides all the time. If you don't like it, so go stay inside, all right? I mean, come on. You get to choose. You got a brain. I mean, I do think it's odd. I've never heard of New York doing that before, or if they have, hadn't heard in the news. They're doing all of Central Park. Central Park is huge. So, have they never had mosquitoes in New York City before? I guess not. I guess not. And now, I think, is it the state of Wisconsin doing the same thing, except it's like the brain infection. Oh, Lord, I cannot remember the name of that. Yes, and that's horrible. So, it's not malaria, although I can't remember what it is. Anyway, it's not affecting everybody the same, but it is affecting some people, and it's coming from mosquitoes. And they're like, we've got to cancel all the children's sports events. I'm like, do you? Just spray some off. And I don't know. Wear long sleeves. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too jaded. That might be. I'm just not sensitive enough. Yeah, that's a real possibility. So forgive me if I'm offending anybody by not being worried about the mosquitoes. I think it's something to watch. You put it. I've got that on a box watching it. The one thing that has bothered me more than anything is Governor Abbott, and the Venezuelan gangs coming across the Texas border, him calling the Texas National Guard to the border. I don't know if there's a federal National Guard or the Texas. I don't know all the differences between National Guard, but that bothers me. That bothers me. And then what bothers me the most is he mentioned building a fence between Texas and New Mexico to keep illegal immigrants out, especially these Venezuelan gang members. Not Mexico, New Mexico. Now, I live very close to the New Mexico border. That would be very interesting because there's people who go to the doctor over there from Texas. There's people who get their haircut over there, get their food over there. That would be a very interesting situation to actually build a fence right there to where I can't go to Walmart. Anyway, interesting. So that's the one of all things I've heard in the last 24 hours. That's the most interesting. A fence between two states. Fascinating. Never thought I'd see that. That wasn't on my radar. They couldn't have imagined that. Now, let's get to these prepping items right quick. This one's a little unique, y'all. I'm going to just bring this out. This is in a little box right here. I'm going to bring this out. I'm going to show this to you. I don't know if you can see it or not. I've got the packaging on it. Sorry about the glare. Y'all, this is, if you don't know what this is actually typing ribbon. Typewriter ribbon right here. Remember that game? Remember loading your fixing? Yeah. The typewriter. Remember taking typing when you're in junior high and high school? All right. I have old typewriters around, mainly because I like the way they look. Sometimes I do a play where I need a typewriter from a certain time period. But I got to thinking, a typewriter might be a good prepping item. So if you can't type out something on your computer and print it out because of a grid down situation or something like that, you might want to look into getting typewriter ribbon. I got this on Amazon. It was like $7. I didn't even know they still made it, but they do. So, yeah, be thinking about that. That might be something you feel called to do. I can definitely see it as a tradable skill. Yeah, I can type your paperwork for you because I've got a typewriter and fresh ribbon that hadn't dried out since 1980. Y'all, I did not like typing my papers. Thank goodness I married a man who typed my college papers for me. That was back in the day, wasn't it? Yeah, he did not write them for me, although it would have been nice if he would have. But no, 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 he did type them and edit them nicely because he's a real grammar Nazi. Oh, I'm not know if I'm supposed to say that word on YouTube or not, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, another very basic prepping item that sometimes goes under the radar because we're always you get to the level of prepping that you're thinking bigger, freeze dried, dehydrated. Sometimes it's just this. Sometimes it's just, I know, ramen noodles. All right. Sometimes it's best just to go back to the basics, get a crap ton of these, y'all. Stock it on your shelf. They will last a long time. All you have to do is add hot water. All right. How simple can that be? And with sometimes we just don't remember the very basic food items. So these aren't expensive. Y'all know they're dirt cheap. So go ahead. We call them Roman numerals. They're ramen noodles. So, but get you some. They're a nice backup. They're a nice backup. Even if your electricity just goes off, like ours did randomly yesterday. Oh my. And Taylor, she was like, Mom, I need to go to the church building. I need to get something over at the church building. And I was like, there's not going to be any lights over there. So we took a flashlight. We were going to do that anyway, but we had to do it without electricity. All right, let me read this, y'all. I will confess to you that I have been in a spot of why isn't anything happening? And what if nothing happens and we have the election and someone gets elected and there's no big event that everyone is saying is coming? Then what? And the Lord dealt with me on that. He's like, you need to quit thinking in terms of a timeline or an event. So because I'll read it. All right, here we go. This is what the Lord wrote to me. You pray about it through the Holy Spirit and square it with God yourself. All right. If there's something in here that resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, just walk away from it. All right. Here's what I wrote down August 29th, 2024. Trust in me. You are leaning too heavily on your own efforts. You must let me carry the heavy load. You must let me direct your steps. You are wise in coming to me with full honesty, for I already know your heart, your mind. But do you? As you confess your flaws and sins, clarity emerges. You can see yourself in an honest light, and what is in the light can be worked with easier than what is held back, lurking in the shadows. Yeah. Do not think in timeline, for that creates a false pressure that beats down, causing doubt and faltering steps. Trust me instead. Say, my Father knows when. I do not. My Father knows the day this nation will fall. My Father knows the last nail in the coffin. My Father knows the way in which the foolishness of man will destroy nations. My Father knows. All you must do, my daughter, my precious child, is follow what I tell you. So let me reread that. All you must do, my daughter, my precious child, is follow what I tell you. Noah did not know the day, the hour, the minute of the first drop from the sky. He simply followed what was told to him by his Creator God. So, should you, when you walk this way, uh, so should you. When you walk this way, relief will wash over you. Does that make sense? So should you. When you walk this way, relief will wash over you. For I will take care of you, even if you are not braced in your emotions. As long as you are seeking me, that is the key. Spend your thoughts in me. Do as I direct. Allow yourself the freedom of relief. I'm going to say that again. Allow yourself the freedom of relief. Relief in my divine and perfect protection. For you will live through many difficult days, trying times, catastrophic events. This is true of all ages, times, lives of men. Avoid choosing a date for these moments of destruction, for that pulls bits and pieces of your faith from me. I'm going to read that again. That pulls bits and pieces of your faith from me. It sets you up for giving up. For when your emotional expectations do not come to pass, a letdown occurs in your heart, which opens a weakness in your resolve to follow me. The enemy knows this and uses it in his strategies against you. Do not pick out a timeline. Instead, live joyfully every day, alert and ready in me. I love, I protect, I warn, I teach, I am. And that was it. So I'm going to leave that with you. I'm not going to add anything to that other than sometimes I get worried. There's no other word. Forgive me if I'm not supposed to fear. Sometimes I'm human. I mean, I know I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and fear doesn't have a place there. But sometimes I falter. And a lot of times it's because I'm expecting something, and it's creating a false pressure. Like, this has got to happen by the election, or this has got to happen by the debates, or by the DNC convention, or by the inauguration, or, stop it, Gina. Maybe you don't need to stop that. That's my message from God. I don't know what yours is. It may be completely different. But every time yeah. So, I'm going to live in the relief, the freedom of relief. And maybe that'll help you too. I don't know where you're at. You know where you're at. God knows where you're at, and he loves you very much. All right, gang. That's all I have. Stay safe, America. This is Gina Lima Charlie. I'm out.